All right, the time has come. No, of course. We saw it. Go to Nigeria. Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay, here we go. Lama me bo lama me nange dumba sanje chonde de bege wa shagya dumba lama chudo jazu je o dumba chonde de shin chaba da chomba yanda wo sobe Rebo da jazu demba de wa sheba je de jemba je u de be Lana me ba lana me na de dumba sange chomde Bege wa shagya dumba la jase lo chudo jazu je Ade ga ni zo je dam se sa shin ni na gong ba de mo Ade je de ma cho je lo de se je bo che la cha Nanda gong wa chu ni gong ba yi je ya zo se je dong bo Taba je ne su na na me wo gong bo chu ni je la cha Sejo demba jime da veje, sedo tawa kela chansa. Tende kela siva sumaji, nyame kinyi kela chansa. Gombo tuji je demba, tamji kembe demba po. Sona yende gyazo je, dejin shela chansa. Londa bende jamjin, geveni sonle. Karmarare mameda yuma seba shurda Melan lokan tindamu diji chenan didarda Sunan diye tamche sipaye Koban done genge rajare Kadanadan chive labjume Sibe sole rova rova sho To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate God for refuge. When the supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like the spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean. To you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to that Dharma which pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by waves of aging, sickness, and death.
Khapa Yasinye tongpa nampa tawo tene sanye ki tu sedan denpa shari bu janju senpa senpa jum papa tene senpa jum sanye ki chenpe su riki bu kala la shara je paru tu senpa samu chepa chepa depa de tita lapa tar eke je me bada janju senpa senpa jum bu papa tene senpa ju ki sedan denpa shari da depo la dike chenpe su shari bu rije bu rije bu mo kala la shara je paru tu chenpa samu chepa chepa depa de tita namba tawar jade pumbo nga pote tita ya ra shen ye tongpa namba ya tapa che su tawo su tongpa tongpa ni su 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 le tongpa ni shema ye tongpa ni le kyan su shema ye te shen do tsuwa dan du she dan du she dan nambara shepa nang tongpa o shari bu te ta che dan che tongpa ni te sini me pa ma ye ma che pa ma ga pa che ma me pa che ma ta che wa me pa ka wa me pa o shari bu te ta wa na pa ni la zu me zo wa me me number shepa me na wa me na me che me lu me yi me su me ra me che me lo me che ta me chu me do me ke ka me pa ne yi ke ka me yi je number shepa ka je pa do ya me to Mare pa me mare pa se pa me ka shi se me pa do ya me to kunjungwa dang go pa na na me ye she me to pa me ma to pa ya me to dawa na kan ju semba nam to pa me be chir sherab ge par de semba la ten je ne de sem la je pa me je tra pa me de chin je lo le shin du de ne yang ye le de be thar shin du du sung do nam ban an je tham je nya shira ge par du semba la ten ne la na me ba ya da ba to be thong ju du mo ba to par sa ge ro de dawa na shira par du chin de ha Ripa Jimbo Nga Lama Mebe Nga Minya Bada Nyambe Nga Dunga Tabje Radu Chivra Shive Nga Midu Vena Dembra Shiva Chade Shiragi Paru Du Jimbe Nga Meba Thea Ta Gade Gade Para Gade Para Sangade Budi Sora Kari Bu Janju Samba Samba Jambu Dena Shiragi Paru Du Jimba Samba Lapa Jambu Dena Jumde Tingi Zendele Shinde Janju Samba Baba Jeres de Monjula, Lesu, Shitama, Jene, Lesu, Fijibu, Ede, Shinwa, Ede, Shindu, Jitarki, Tamba, Shindu, Sheraki, Varu, Chimba, Samala, Chevar, Jati, Jebana, Jesu, Yiramo, Tunde, Dige, Jeka, Zene, Zelande, Majara, Muno, Juju, Sambo, Baba Jeres de Monjula, Hamjedan, Debe, Koro, de Dadan, Hadam, Edan, Hama, Yedan, Zaji, Beji, Yelande, John, Deji, Sumbala, Mubate,
Page 11. Thus I have heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgriha on Vulture's Peak, together with a great assembly of monks and bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was totally absorbed in the concentration that examines all phenomena, called profound illumination. And at the same time, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, was engaged in the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra spoke to the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, how should those of good family learn who wish to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond? Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, replied to the Venerable Shariputra, saying, O Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of good family wishes to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, should look at it like this, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is no other than form, form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, karmic formations, and consciousness are all empty. Therefore, Shariputra, all phenomena are empty without characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are neither impure nor free from impurity. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no karmic formations, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. There are no spheres of the eyes, no spheres of the mind. There are none of these all the way up to the sphere of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance, nor is there destruction of ignorance. There are none of these all the way up to there is no old age and death, nor is there destruction of old age and death. Thus there is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. There is no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, all bodhisattvas hold to the wisdom gone beyond, and because there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond falsity, they reach beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times, by relying on the wisdom gone beyond, fully and clearly awaken to the unsurpassed, most perfect and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the wisdom gone beyond, the mantra of great insight, the unequaled and unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering, should be known as the truth, for there is no deception. The mantra of the wisdom gone beyond is proclaimed, Tayata Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi. This is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn the profound wisdom gone beyond. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and praised the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, very good, O son of good family. It is exactly like that. The profound wisdom gone beyond should be practiced exactly as you have said. And then the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the whole gathering in the world with its gods, men, anti-gods, and spirits, their hearts full of joy, praise the words of the Blessed One. So ends the noble discourse and the essence of the wisdom gone beyond.
어두세 그래노도 참 사이마게 젤라데다래 아디 전주 남기를 봐서 전주 남기를 봤으니까 나도 도도 봤지바이나 아니 나 간다 산지게 셈지게 된 아마 산지게 산지게 공부도 가서 셈지게 된 주가 다 셈지게 된 주세야 되는 셈지게 된 주고에 가르스나 다 셈지게 동에 내가 믿음이 동에 세웠다 난 대화도 땜을 쳐야 돼 산제남이 다 투기 공부 조어도 차대요레스 근데 이제마다 산제남이 심지게 된 체가 동에 세워서 아니 대화 집을 쳐야 돼 아니 다 거기 산제기 거기 차게 아니 맞저기 디버도 봐 추니 내가 차야 더 아니 동에서 봐 차가 렌도 내가 차야 돼 이제 답이 열었으나 뒤에 말했어 그때면은 아니다 심지게 아니 Something to convince you rest, that's what they do. And that's something to end it down the person, not the church. And it's something on sort of Lamrim on the Yams Lamba, and Mamzula to me, Seva. And they were to watch a tap in this year, oh, that the Yams Lion and Dana, that church, that Yamne Chevrolet church, Chevrolet, and that in my own response.
And now we resume our Sunday class on the Great Treatise on the Stages of the Path to Enlightenment. These are the stages in the path to enlightenment. And so the essential meaning of the text is the very intent of the Buddha. The intent of the Buddha is to bring about the well-being and welfare of all sentient beings. And what does this entail precisely? It entails the dispelling of the suffering and dissatisfactions experienced by sentient beings, and the endowment of sentient beings with causes for satisfaction. This is the Buddha's primary purpose. In a temporary sense, to dispel the dissatisfactions and despair of sentient beings, and to generously give to sentient beings satisfaction and contentment. However, there is no simple means for simply washing away negativities and the causes of discontents of sentient beings. It's not as simple as simply washing these discontents away. So how is it that the Buddha brings about the well-being of sentient beings? The Buddha does so by teaching the Dharma and teaching the path. And based upon the Buddha's teaching of the Dharma and the path, sentient beings are able to dispel their discontents and achieve satisfaction. And this is the meaning of practice. When we speak of with urgency, Dharma practice, practicing the Dharma, the meaning is just this.
Oh, yeah, that indeed, that Kandar Sanjay Chamde, the Korangi, Nirangi, Nyamnusa began, Nyuadi, and the Masungi or any Swadi, Langata, and the China Yakutu, Lam the Rich Tembayina, and the Domain Shitugu. Lam the Rich Tembayina, and they were to grace that Lam Temple, Korangi, Yamu demand, Sungre, Sungwa, another Yam to Lambala Tene, and Maranzuka. You know, Tobachi, Sonamsa, Tobachi, Sariani, Tumeta, Shiva Cheda, and they were to tap the Hana Ragua. Oh, the day that Penamarando Kigan, Sango Shivuji Keba, Sango Shivuji Yoga Inayam, and a cook Lobjon in Mother, Chuyaba is to stay at your mother, and in your egg, your mother, another cook, love the Rangi Jam, was the Rangi Shingle, Chamber, Rangi, and a chick bucket, Digi. The
Buddha Shakyamuni himself practiced and gained his own experience and then shared his experience with disciples. This was the process of teaching the Dharma. Based upon his own experience, the Buddha was able to say, if you were to do this, it would be constructive. If you were to practice the path in this way, that would pacify suffering. If you were to practice the path in this way, this would bring about satisfaction. And so the Buddha taught based upon his own experience, and we take the experiences of the Buddha as a basis for our practice, and in doing so, begin to produce realization in our own minds. And as we do this, we accumulate merit, and as we accumulate merit, we further our own realization taking place in our own mind streams, and gradually discontents and dissatisfactions are pacified and contentment is realized. And so the method is ours. We have it in our hand to implement. And it isn't as though there were something that one could purchase or that one could come by, like a material object that would endow one with these things. Instead, one trains, and when one trains in this way, it's as though one has valuable guidance from an experienced guide, and then one practices in this way.
아니 내 손에 야샤야 대대로지 대로네 지나니 야 산지 살도야 감가지 아 대마이 바체니 마 예 송로 마 샤자마 도사게 랑가도 랑가니 요레스 나도다 디 랑가니나 마디고 요마 랑가니 요레스 그다다 디 간다 배는 아주 디도르다 lumba yarje 친족 lumba 두고 랑가야마 결혼 친구들도 아니 야도서 야샤자 마도서 마도 파지 야도서 마도서 거리네 파도 투게미도 대나시 한국에 이네 수수기 있다. 거기에 동해 메드바 동해 되고 메드나 동해 바시와체 아니 대화수 룸 도사기 나가지 아니 대마이 버스다 랑게 마시 바로 몽베 왕게 동해 제는 방에 손 맞게 거야 되게 도사기 나가니 어떤가 티니 수에 살아야 해서
What are the pathways available then? There are two courses one may take. One may take the course, the path of the Dharma, practicing the experiences of the Buddha, and in so doing, increase one's prospects of good fortune in the future, directly leaving the lower realms and assuring one's passage into the realm of the Devas, and then ultimately to the very ground of Buddhahood itself. This is one course one's actions may take. And the other is to directly fall to the lower realms. There are these two possibilities. So all possibilities are contained within these two. It's like that. It's as though there were a developed nation, and in the developed countries, the highways are all laid out in a manageable way, and one never loses one's way. So we too, knowing that there are these two paths, knowing that we wish to avoid dissatisfaction and experience contentment, the path for bringing that about. And then the alternative path of remaining mired in ignorance and delusion and continually falling from lower realm to lower realm. There are these two courses available.
Oh, yeah. And then Tamarando, the second Lamdi motion was it. And then Dilla that Royal Chido, and that Dilla Royal Chidola, and then Tamazo, Lamno, Lobia Chidola, and then Tanamazo, Lamrim singing the Lamji reversing it, and Massa, Nesong with Dungan, and then do Nesone, then do the part, and then Koyak neck around the second train. 랑 거에 내려 들어와 신 거에 내려 들어투가 지하기 아니 대대기 탑 쳐버쟁기 토비야 또 고방되라 아니 장죽세 내랑 조사기 람디기 되라 도야기 되 람이 냠 수기 냠도 내야기 람지 좀 받아달라 아니 람림 센다 어떻게 좀 받아달라 로비야기 랑가디 돼야기 아니 초도 주고 디나는 배 약속이다 가르쳐고서 산주 람지 좀 봐서 다 들을라봐이나 아니다 말하고 수수기 간다 로색이 나가냐 봐도 차대요 그래서
So now we know, can identify these two paths available to us, and as we make our choice and engage in practice, we engage in the very trainings on the stages of the path, and it's the stages of the path to progressively better fortune, moving from lower realms to the realms of the Deva, and then ultimately liberating ourselves from the bondage of samsara generally, both ourselves, liberating ourselves from samsara and others from samsara. And this is the exceptional course, the exceptional path to bodhimaya, the Buddhahood. These stages, the practices involved in this path are those laid out in the great treatise. These stages are the best trainings of all for the purpose of achieving enlightenment. And if each of us trains, each person trains in this way, we have found ourselves in possession of the means for bodhimaya.
Oh, yeah. They do the Matangarando, they get Lam, but they get the young Gula Kewa Chebalata, Lam Tango, go connect to Resna, go to Sadi, and then Lamjit our Shini Tembet. 신이 때마다 신이 가도 상고 때마다 이마이나야 람도 또 가서 요게 요바 다디 예버레스 제가다 람지다와 신이 때도 대양 아니 컨데스니 오스는 튠점 니신 아니 도신 때마이나 아니 지라게 투 촐라마도와 투 상고 아니 람 공부대 뉴도 줄라 개와 되게 되게 정보 차를 해야 손으로서.
When one ascertains the path, then one enters the path. Where does one enter the path? What is the gateway, the very opening to the path? It is proper reliance upon the spiritual mentor. However sincere one's reliance upon the spiritual mentor is, to the same degree, one will quickly develop realization in one's mind. So when one has ascertained this, one begins to practice within the framework of the formal meditation session and the period between formal meditation sessions, the session itself and the intercession period. When one's time is organized in this way, no time goes to waste. All time is constructive, and the path and its realizations speedily develop in one's mind.
that they do. 아니 뭐시 장주 섬 고야 튀디 되고 그래서 뭐시 장주 섬 공부 쳐봐라 아니 뭔도 다 좋아 뭔도스나다 좋았으나 지바래 안다 좋아 아니 좋아 양라 투디 다 보지 종아이나 아니 뭐시 장주 섬 공부대 야고 용 그래 아니 장주 섬 공부대 야고 주나 아니 제부 산지지 공부대야 요도 토바대 거로 와서 대체도 당보 좋아 양라 투디라 로고디 다 주변에 강간한 개침부시라 차대요. 그래서
The organization of one's time into the meditation session and the intercession period is useful for in the meditation session and the actual meditation in this period. Bodhicitta itself, the development of bodhicitta itself, is aided by the preliminary practices or the foregoing practices. These are the 6 preliminary rites, and they are for the purpose of creating the condition for the development of the mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta. And when bodhicitta develops in earnest, then enlightenment itself may swiftly be attained. And so one begins with the 6 preliminary rites, and all practices include these preliminary rites.
어두지다 저와 당보 수수게 내 예바체 내 예바마데 내 장마스 아니 내나는 저리 저거 때 고수도 내 장마차단 난 살을 아니 내 예바들라 내가 진짜 저 고수도 된다 봐 예바 가래 네버디 저거 예바 그거 제가 뭐야 랑게 처바 표야 당다 처바 표야 제 뭐셔마다 처바도 제가 차단 dig 차단 사살 아네 수수게 공자세게 땡땡이야 소사를 땡땡라 땡네네 류다 생물이 조단되게 제사를 딱 계속 개발된 계사다 잠로 뭐송을 거두라 다다 잠로 뭐송을 거두는 계산 당하고 잠로 지단데 가려야 돼요 그래서
Of these 6 preliminary rites, the first, cleaning your room and arranging the symbols of enlightened body, speech, and mind, we have completed. The second, obtaining offerings honestly and arranging them beautifully, which entail the description of the materials, the substances that may be made in offering. This too we have concluded. And the third preliminary rite, adopting the 7-featured sitting position, finding one's seat, sitting comfortably, establishing one's body's posture and the posture of the mind too. These have been completed, leaving us with, in this third preliminary rite, consideration of refuge, developing the mind of refuge.
Oh yeah, that day 뭐 다만도 잠로 될라 짭 저세기 유이될 가서 라마 될 라마 동안 댕아 예 되네 산제 될라 산제의 이던 주디시 안디가는 초보 두고제 나제 예 되네 디오들 최들라 아니 최들라양 단예 디레 지금 팀메이드 온도 전에 년도에 최다 안제게 최 아니 이제 투모 온도 대바 친구 최 아니 내가 숨차서 내가 유디오 오마 숨지 아니 유디오 고마 라메 있는 저 최대라야 나 열에서 뭐 그래서
In refuge, one begins with refuge 2,
the 5 groups of gurus. These include the Buddhas of the 4 classes of Tantra, as well as the supreme emanation body of the Buddha. Going for refuge to the Dharma. The Dharma includes the Dharma of the foundation vehicle, which includes the Pratyeka Buddhas and the Shravakas, as well as the Mahayana Dharma, as well as the lower 3 classes of Tantra. Low. And in addition to this, the final, the Dharma of the unexcelled highest Yoga Tantra. And as there are the 5 groups of gurus and the 5 dharmas, so too there are the 5 sanghas. The 5 sanghas are the Shravakas, the Pratyeka Buddhas, the Mahayana Bodhisattvas, the Dakas and Dakinis, and the Dharma protectors. With these 5 classes, last week we considered the descent of purifying nectar as it related to the Buddha and the Dharma, that is, taking the Buddha as object, the descent of purifying nectars. We did this as well for the Dharma. Now we turn our attention to the Sangha. And as the process goes, the descent of nectar eliminates negativities and confers good qualities. In relation to the Dharma as the object for the descent of purifying nectars, which eliminates negativities, I related the story of King Awa Chimbo. And the story goes that patrons sold, viewing the Dharma as items for sale, sold the Prajnaparamita Sutras, and he attended a meal that they offered him. And then, as a result of this, he lost the ability to encounter Avalokiteshvara directly and became ill. He shared this story. He supplicated Avalokiteshvara, sharing his distress, and learned from Avalokiteshvara that it was because the patrons had viewed the Dharma as items for sale and sold them, that he had himself become ill. it was the cause for his no longer being able to encounter Avalokiteshvara directly. Avalokiteshvara provided guidance, guided King Awachimbo to confess his negativities, which King Awachimbo did, and in so doing, he began to recover and to escape that negativity. As the story goes, in practice, it wasn't the patrons who had actually sold the Dharma that immediately became ill as a result of this misdeed. It was King Awachimbo who did, and Avalokiteshvara described the circumstances as these friends of his had such a thicket of negativities yet to ripen that there was an opportunity for this negativity to ripen immediately for them. However, for King Awachimbo, he had so little fully ripened karma left yet to ripen that there was opportunity immediately for this negativity to ripen, and so it was.
Oh yeah, today you know Vizina, Susu, Vizina, Chicken Chawana, and Chicken other than you do number, and then around the person lay number me body. Young boy, you know, and then some mingers. Lay number me body, but Tapchimbo, Jiwu, you know, and it mean cover your that, and then Milu deal a mummy, you know. And Karchigres and Chimami song with them member ina and to make it same of young warrior and it kept to a tapshe your mother. Or today you do around the negative Luma, they were same my give you do some and it the young did you Chidan Chicken to dine meeting Nasha, the quite bet your charge a corporate and it she would yam tap charge a cigarette was. That one egg needs you whatever ina. 다 콜 레기 당 나고야 레사 레기 다 두고 요레스 제가 다 단단하도 로종이 냠는 지도서 뭐 로종이 냠는 개침부 용거야지 다 레기 넘버 멤버디 지우이는 양도 안 주고 멤버 제약 합식 된다 로종도 지기 로종이 냠는 지고 요레스
The lesson here is when we experience misfortune and illness, it may well be that the rapidity with which we find ourselves experiencing the ripening of karma is an expression of the lightness of the yet unripened karma and the opportunity for it to ripen quickly upon us. There is the alternative scenario where there's such a thicket, so much negativity yet to ripen that there's no opportunity for negativities to ripen quickly. It takes time, and such time it takes, in fact, that one may find oneself in the lower realms where that negativity ripens in enduring dissatisfactions lasting for considerable time in the lower realms, where there's no method, there's no means for protection from that suffering. So then when at this time in our practice, when we find ourselves unwell physically and mentally, ordinarily others will observe, oh, this poor soul, he's sick now, or he's fallen on hard times now. But there's a view that one may employ wherein one recognizes that in the practice of the path, negativities are purified through this misfortune and illness. And in the context of mind training views the ripening of karma as crucial, and one takes the opportunity to bring about the ripening of karma as swiftly as one can.
Oh yeah, that indeed is that indeed you do around the penna. So the mat on the Tondor, Tabina, round Tabek, swim, knitching Modomena, knitching the Matabu, Yatirana, Kiamuras, Tabek, swim, Mamboyena, and go conduct to do in the Manga Gore, and in Tabek to do the Kanga Chaji Mambuki, but Kia, Korata Mambo, you would was Tenaji, Maranzo, Uzula, leg, the very leg, new Modomena, Table Lamsan, and Mingiro. The way lady Mambo Yena, some mean to Mamma Mayina, Alen Milu Lembe, tell Mamma Mayina, yes, on the mean, you going to share the rest. 그래서 내리 이르다만 하나도 되게 장죽 셈로 장 사교다 마산 연익이 너는 자야당 아니 냠내 제야 가가 카가 요레스 다 장죽 셈로 장 사교 장죽 셈 뷰레제 사교이나 아니 말 나와셔 사와셔 시행이 동해가 말을 미마셔 너는 얘기로 다 나도 장죽 셈로 맞아도 아니 마마 나와셔 아니 시행나나 나생으로 스텔레스 너는 얘기로 왔어요 자주 쌤 장사에 미나 맞아는 쌤 시우지 켜버치 뭐 여러 손.
So it is as though one can imagine one has one seed and one plants the one seed and one will harvest one plant, and that would be the quick ripening of a negativity. Compare that to all that is required for a whole bag of seeds planted. There must be a field sufficient, and a great deal of time will be required for there to be a harvest. Similarly, when we have very few negativities yet to ripen, then any negativity there is that has to ripen, its consequence has to ripen, it will ripen quickly. If there is a great deal of negativity yet to ripen into its result, then that will take time and happen gradually and slowly. So slowly, if it doesn't occur, doesn't ripen on this present human body, so slowly that it may occur, it may ripen in the lower realms. And so there is a basis for a difference in attitude. A difference in attitude known to bodhisattvas in particular, those who have developed the mind of enlightenment. Those individuals recognize that it is advantageous to have sickness and misfortune ripen upon one at this present moment. And not only is it constructive for one's own negativities, but it's constructive to have others' negativities ripen upon each ourselves as bodhisattvas. And so bodhisattvas make this sort of aspirational prayer. May the negativities of others ripen upon me. May my negativities ripen upon me now. Most ordinary individuals instead think, oh, they're sick, that's on them, and it's not me. There's a significant difference between the attitude of the bodhisattva with the mind of enlightenment and others.
지금 속속이 미제 나와 즉 페이스 마테와다 주도 용두서 안 삼로 땅도 잡아 아니 랑기 타는 내 되게 아니 랑기 다 나고야 내 타는 멤버 쇼스 그런 자다 아니 신에 있다고 등에 만용아 쇼스 그런 자도 아니 장주선을 만원 차대 되는데 갭 초고 열에 갭나 편도 첨보열 수술라 편도 첨보열에 아니 내 쉬워 제일 팽기를 어디에 만원 갭만 비라 편도 첨보열에 손을.
And so in our lives, when we encounter physical pain, mental hardship, whatever misfortune, we may pray that be the ripening of all our causes for illness happening at that moment. May it be the ripening of all my negativities. And furthermore, may all the negativities of sentient beings ripen upon me now. This attitude and this aspiration is allowed to us. And if we do it, it is very constructive. And if we do it, then our illness will be pacified naturally.
Oh, yeah, that thing on the Jambu chair, Kindula Jabs, Kindula Jabs chess, that Jambu thing on the Lobs and the chat, the rest, then Kindula Jabs chess, that Kindula Jabs chess, Gadula, Kanda Kindula Jabs drawn and dig what half by a dig what over that, Tanga Kanda and Kindula ten Sabi, dig what and Kindugi Inche was, Kinduji Korto was, and then Kinduji Kindula Kuataba, and Kando Chijong Sumasobi, and Twitter to the Mondota, Tobakelena, Tuzilla Condolata, Tutor Tantan, Chabache, Choba Pichora, or the Chabato, and then Kindula ten Sabi, what had their response.
Now, the present topic is refuge with the object, the Sangha. I go for refuge to the Sangha. And by going for refuge to the Sangha, negativities are purified. Which negativities in particular are purified? Those that took place with the Sangha as the object of the negativity. And these include causing dissent within the Sangha, rather dissension within the Sangha, stealing from the Sangha, denigrating the Sangha, and for those who have taken the secret Mantrayana vows, neglecting to make offerings of ritual cakes to the protectors.
Oh, yeah. Sangha Lama Sangha Tatene Gindula ten sabe diba, oh ya, ta diba shi nane yang, ane Gindula ten sabe rangi diba di, ane diba shenzo le yang, tes jiwa yoras, ane jiwa yindang di kares na, ane ta kiamru moma sumla sane diba di, imbu topshi gone shakma cheba ina, tada thatuwa, de sungur es. Ta Gindula ten tabe takwa di imbu topshi le ten thak ku yorte ina yang, jebu, 딱 하다 거기 제부터 테스 마녀와 아니 간다 마탑 어디지 아니 도나 루규만 무슨 요래서
So as one has gone to refuge to the glorious gurus, to the Buddha, to the Dharma, now going for refuge to the Sangha, the refuge of the Sangha is to be understood as different from the former basis or supports for refuge. Different in the sense that negativities with the Sangha as object are graver than those with the others as object. So how is this the case? Well, in the case for the support of the Guru, the Buddha, and the Dharma, any negativity done with those as object may be purified through the application of the 4 antidote powers. However, in the case for negativities done with the Sangha as the basis or support, the application of the 4 antidote powers, yes, does purify the negativity to some degree. However, there will be a residue, and this is described in many sutras.
Oh yeah, that is Sangye the chula ten diva sava le, Gidula ten diva sava de marano sa manga saya yenga chewa yores. Kasanazo Gidula Namdo Mambo go was. Chesa yidu Gidul ten diva saya Mambo yenga chimbo yore. Or the res. And then that in a person that Gidus and that Gidus is not Gidusing the Karesna. That Tony Musum do tope, Kansaji Tuna, I call it Gidu public inducing the other Gidu Gonjone or Tereda. Public induce. That is public indutella. That how my bata bought a motor Simje Kanga swim by Inaya, Simjeta, Chideshimi Neta, Yawaita to look Harimba Inaya, and the Tony Motu to be shared the Quigula Yovaina, now public inducing Tony Motu shared Quigula Keva Nes one day, and go public inducing the Chagi or response.
So it is the case that negativity is done with the Buddha and the Dharma as the support for the negativity, grave as they are, do not compare to the grave danger and the likely eventuality that one accumulates considerable non-virtue with the Sangha as support, because we are continually in their presence, and so there is a danger that we accumulate negativities with the Sangha as support. Now, the Sangha, when we speak of the Sangha is especially those individuals who have direct penetrative insight into emptiness. Those individuals immediately become, upon this penetrative insight, the Arya Sangha. So really, the Sangha is just that, those Arya individuals who have seen emptiness directly. And of all sorts of sentient beings that there are, male and female, ordained and lay, animals, hell beings, cats, and dogs, any of these, should they have direct insight into emptiness, are the Arya Sangha. From the moment of that penetrative insight into emptiness on, they are the Arya Sangha.
Oh, you study. I wanted to get us on. That 다 긴듀스 간도 긴듀스는 다 긴듀스 찍고서 아니 네 간저스는 개롱기 동보 유바 개롱다 남다 거다 개롱 동보 그 마셔 남다 유바 된제게 장 시초스나 대라야 긴듀스 단다 긴듀스라 그래 아니 콜라 네 안다 쳐봐 이나야 긴듀라 쳐봐 아니 콜라 때는 손음 사바 이나야 긴듀를 때는 손음 사바 어떻게 뒤차가 데데시어 레스단 결혼남다 시참에 초마도는 데라 긴듀스 데스라 그래 어디를 해서
Then that is the Arya Sangha. And the Sangha, that which we ordinarily call the Sangha, is the collection of any four bhikshus, any four with the full ordination vows without any fault. A collection of four such individuals is the Sangha, and we name them the Sangha and call them the Sangha. Offerings and homage to this group is to the Sangha. Merit accumulated with the support of such a collection of individuals is merit accumulated through the Sangha. Any group, congregation of four such individuals is the Sangha.
어이 답하다 이 고마디 데라 카베 긴듀스라 돈이 무슨도 또 사죠 강사 가지고 있네 그죠 카베 강사스 단다 긴듀스 시점에 데라 소지 긴듀스 맹비 데리스페 단거 소지 긴듀스 어이 다 딘데 다 소지 긴듀스 시점비 긴듀 데스라고도 다 딘데 소지 긴듀 제 좀바이나 제 좀바제 아니 제 좀바디 나로로 맞춘 바제네 아니 시시도 차바이나 다지 얘기 기둘 때문에 녀바다 뭐 기둘이 인생이 어다 충수디네 차를 해서
That first Sangha is the Arya Sangha of individuals with direct insight into emptiness. This is the Arya Sangha. Then the collection of four individuals with their vows of full ordination, a collection of four makes for the Sangha of ordinary individuals, known as the Sangha of ordinary individuals, and four together makes for such a Sangha. Now, if there were a group of 8 and there were cause for dissension and the group of 8 split into two factions of 4, this would be causing dissension within the Sangha.
다 기두디 마찬 기두 될 수뇌의 제는 주신 개발로 소바 근데 인 제발로 제는 아니 기두 대리 니 차소는 아니 기두 대주고 기두 대주선다 기두 인 제바 승에 다 차로 대 예바 전부직 쓰기를
The individual responsible for dividing the Sangha against itself, dividing a Sangha of 8 into two factions pitted against each other of 4 would be the one responsible for causing the fracture of the Sangha.
단다 먼저 단다디 많이 버제디 당게 남들라자라 디나라다 상디 긴두기 엔지 빼데 간데샤스나 뒤즈리 가도스나 기시 포도 와서 이와 람림 조지 로마들 domde 로마들 기시 포도 와서 기시 포도 코랑 뒤즈라 코랑 로마 아니 기시 세시스 기시 정말 코랑게 아니 아무 배 개바친 뭐지 내려 순간에 개바친 뭐지 아니 코랑게 고바지게 또 제다 말이다니 긴두 이해체 아니 제발 때네 아니 거라 긴두 이해체 동화 중앙 어디를 뺐다 베지디나는 뺐는데 샤요래서 네 도단 드나는 빼시 바시 바요.
Now I've been consulting liberation in the palm of your hand, and there is an instance of the fracturing of a Sangha, and it occurred during the time of Potoa. Potoa was a student of Dromtompa, who was student of the illustrious Atisha. So it was during the time of Potoa, and Potoa's student Seishe had become a distinguished scholar, very knowledgeable in the 3 baskets of the teachings. And he caused he caused the fracturing of the Sangha in the monastery, and that fault fell upon him. And this is the story found in Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand. And there are stories found, accounts of this found in the sutras as well.
Oh, that today you do anything the Chongway, never chimbo yibega, Kundo, Karriosna, and never cheba yena. Chinyigita, Gano, Chinyigi, Gano, Kuranta, the shame water, Yason, Yawaki, Yobata, Zukund, the Tango, that Timase, and dig, Sajo Tilla, Lemig, Mizula Yang, and in Mesona Kia, the dig bay, never Chibusun Yores, and the Tian, such a Sagi, Gobata, Netelaya, and Simji Shiba Suleva, Simji Zulaya, Towa Yam Droyata, Towa Makia, the dig bay, never Chibusun Yores.
Dividing the Sangha is a very grave negativity, and there are scriptural sources support for this understanding that it is very grave. Needless to say, the particular individual who directly causes the divide in the Sangha takes rebirth in the lower realms, and scriptural support for this is abundant. Furthermore, those other participants involved in the fracturing of the Sangha, they too fall to lower realms. And furthermore, those in proximity, all sentient beings in proximity to this event that is so grave, find that their realization declines.
Oh yeah, that they did never chimbo yobachi, and that dinashi gindu, but that tuba yunayam, and it beha, shujigita, Lubala digi yonga yobada, and then Lubegana Twin Tsong yonga, and it that under Langi Labasum Julakiagi, Twin Chod Jubati, Gidu Duba, Gidu Duba Masi, Gidu Tumba the Chunga, and then Labasum in Yamne. She would get to your Gaba than the Sinjing Digi your Sanjing Demanegi or the day to do what them can do two more than and then pay your response.
Dividing the Sangha is a grave misdeed. Where the Sangha is abiding in harmony, the harmony of the Sangha will become the condition for the region and the land. All those in the region for experiencing good fortune. It becomes a universal good condition for good fortune, and it causes the successful increase in the training in the three higher trainings. Harmony in the Sangha is the condition for success in the three higher trainings, the flourishing of the three higher trainings, the flourishing of the Dharma, and good fortune universally.
Oh, to see that in a but that in a Gindu, the Yen, that is like Gindu court was and so on, Gindu court was in it. And that Gidugi, Pusha, you big Pusha, you say the Yamapi was a rangi Yaba. And Gindula, rangi. To the Cheva Mabiwata, Gindula, Suzuka, Puguayata, the Mabiwa. And it Gindu said that Gindu Maranga Mana, Ranga Loncheva, or Dizula, and it Karsikas, Gindu Korto was the.
So that is the negativity of dividing the Sangha. A second negativity with the Sangha as a support is stealing from the Sangha, or misappropriating goods of the Sangha. This includes taking and using personally that which has been given to the Sangha. Taking and using personally offerings made to the Sangha. This is misappropriation of the goods of the Sangha.
What is it? That is you go to what they any person can the Nyawa Nyensi Nibusea or the Nyewi to game on which and you do say the long Jedan Madibu Onge and it around the same Jing, you retirement, Yoyata, the Nyensi Benatanga to give you call Gidula Kindugi Zed, the Rangi Manama Longcho Balatene, and it's Nisevi, Niven, Pena Kindugi Manama Seller Longcho Balatene, and the day Pena Pedro Sebushivana, Rangi Kindugi, Zay Manama Rangi Rangi Cord, but the Chebaina, and then also the Richard Pena Nisevi, Nivenalaya, and Shing the Delaya. 아니 랑이 류디 싱 예외니 세비 싱 류디 싱이 임발아 내가 동행도 소화차가 이거 텔라베 선제 시행이 방법 내가 저 데도와 어디도 긴둥이 제일 롱제다 만들고 온게 되게 중요하다 되다 도나 루기 방법 송요 레스노시
The misappropriation of the Sangha's wealth causes rebirth and the experience of suffering in the adjoining hells in the hell realm. When one misappropriates, misuses materials, substances, offerings made to the Sangha, and then as a result, there are in the hell realms many forms of sentient life, sentient beings taking all sorts of forms. And they experience the result of misappropriating the Sangha's wealth in the adjoining hells by taking on these myriad forms. For instance, if offerings of food were made to the Sangha and those were misappropriated, or other objects were made as offerings to the Sangha and were misappropriated. For instance, some lumber or something made of wood. What may happen is the individual who misappropriated that lumber finds that they are reborn in the adjoining hells, and they take on the form of lumber itself and experience the ripening of that negativity through the sensations of being lumber themselves in the adjoining hell. More on this is part of the teachings related to the individuals of smaller scope. And so now allow me to move on to the negativity of disparaging the Sangha.
Oh, yeah, that day, you look the quarter, but almost quarter, but the quarter, that rally samba. Bageta, George, what somebody belong in Dula Maga in the quarter by ina, and it had this yours that the Lugudo, your Lugudo, much which was yes.
Denigration of the Sangha may take place directly or indirectly. It may be the intention one has, and then it is expressed through action. So there are stories. There's an account of disparaging the Sangha that I'd like to relate to you.
Oh, yeah, that the Peja Korang is that the dog long time so you do. That kind of yours, not the Lula quarter, but the 10 and you meet to a respect of the Kadaswana. That the last time say, Jibus, Serja Shejawaji, and the Koran to do the carton, Sanjay, Madu, and then on to Sanjay Saja to Barwa, thinking Moma, Sanjay Vesung. Sanjay Vesung, the engine, then the Kaduch was not, me cello niti. It is a minute of Lotse, the carton cello niti. Or to do come Sanjay Suchers, Sanjay Vesung, or to do them, and that. What you will say, yes, and go to do to rest, you do the money, can do and sit to me about a ten, and you make a dish you make all the beauty rest.
In the sutras, there are accounts of this very fault of denigrating the Sangha. And taking one of these accounts, the account of Manavagara, an individual during the time of the Buddha Shakyamuni, rather the Buddha Kashapa Buddha. There is the Buddha Shakyamuni. Before the Buddha Shakyamuni, there was the Buddha Kashyapa Buddha, and he came to the world when the lifespan was 20,000 years. So during that time when the human lifespan was 20,000 years, the Buddha of that time was Kashyapa Buddha, and at this time there was this individual.
그 레사야 그들이 어디도 제가서 다들 루규디 그도 좋아했나 루규디 다 숨마 루규디 좋아 손이도 소리나 다다다 마사야도 봐 아니 간데 좋아하더라 뭐 야갈 좀 되는데 다 야갈 쇼데도 아니 다소 나라 냐주가도 냐바주가 아니 냐바마고 냐바베 앞에도 근데 냐바가 앞에 담아게 아니 건조게 냐다를 왜 비행기도 잡아내 년치 가서는 건조게 냐바도 좀들도 아니 되게다 한다 냐첨부 쉬우지 냐첨부 배셀 첨부 보지 첨부 이어봐 될라야 아니 냐 화장이 두유내면로 첨부 유소가 냐방아제기 동들 잡아내 소모도 봐 아니 건조게 냐바도 라마게도 아니 가르잖아 뛰어라 추지 시스템제 전에다 아니 다다 신경 써봐 주니 랑가 주니 가가 미가 로벌 밀라티 아니 냐지 주 건조 야 추가네 되는 넥사 감사를 때 말했어 아니 되도 잡아는 건조 가르 통하랬으나 아니 냐들은 고민다가 저기에 봐 아니 곧 레레라 미니지 미 숨주 소로도 봐 어디데 sem제 친구 아니 배 바가 고민 담으려 봐 미망고 봐 어디데 sem제 건조 통하래 해서 그렇지 때문에 망고도 봐 건조 감사 통하래 해서
So that's the time for the origin of the action that ripened and was described by the Buddha Shakyamuni, who described the course of karmic events. So during the time of the Buddha Shakyamuni, there were 500 fishermen out fishing, and they were fishing for fish and turtles and other animals, and they threw their nets out and found that they weren't able to drag in their nets, that they had caught something humongous, a massive fish. And so the 500 fishermen working together couldn't drag it ashore, and so they got the help of all who were passing by, those who were coming and going along the road. They asked for help pulling this catch ashore, and so many hands working together were able to drag ashore this massive fish. And the massive fish had 18 heads, and each head had its 2 eyes, so there were 36 eyes. It was a gigantic fish with many heads and many eyes, and all who had heaved the fish out together saw this mighty fish.
대단히 디디전보다 샘제 비타 칸다미 뱀 항의 대바 망보고 메통 강가로 배 항상 배 샘제들의 통만요지 통하죠. 내가 강가 항상들은 디디전보다 디디 아니 개발다 무디비 때바 슈침부이들 무디비 때바 툭스가 개다 심부 근데 내가다 강다 잼버치 얘기 뭐지 때바도 요 콘조 강가 때마다 알 패대요 그래서 디디전보다 좀된 데카서 좀된 데다 프랑스 샘제기 leg joan joya leg da leg chusumya tula pop de the long day chido ani dela tada nya chimbo yosatala ani gelong cord da chebas de res ani de pidu zamba ani cultures da chumde dela maga yeda mudir temba thula soba ani zug kharzan de chumde de ani ko da gomjanye 아니 배고 때문에 가고요 말 때문에 제자res 이내 거 들으려고 열때 이내야 코페 아니 때문에 갈래 송시 마가신 들으려고 열스 아니 좀 되는 대바 인증 미족이야 갈라고 해서 산지 좀 된지 아니 세무세가 패바 말에 때문에다가 영어 말에 이내야 아니 레지를 했다면 아니 레지 남샤 매도 중앙에다 또야 치도라 아니 다 들인데 페버레스 모델이 미조는 담되게 능기요 해서.
So all those who heaved the fish out together. All the human beings who were there pulling the fish ashore saw this mighty fish and were astonished, having never seen anything like it before. And it caused such a scene that it drew the attention of many others, including the Tirthikas, the non-Buddhist extremist teachers, and there were 6 schools in particular who were famous for debating with the Buddha Shakyamuni. And they came to see this mighty fish and to interpret it. And what people were saying at the time was the Buddha Shakyamuni isn't likely to visit. The Buddha Shakyamuni doesn't concern himself with trivialities like this. He's a dedicated meditator and couldn't possibly be interested in this. But the Buddha did come, and those who viewed him favorably said, the Buddha does come, but he doesn't come to play. He doesn't come just for the sight, but he comes to propound karmic causality. And so the story goes.
아니 가르쳐서는 콜라야 겨워만 텐도 주고 겨워만 텐도 주 아니 콜라야 가는지 고랑 지단 깨다 순도 쉬우지 그라 침보다 들려 열다 이내 콜라게 미기 되는 거야게 아니 지금 맛이 받는데 친질라 그래서 친질라면 아니 좀 되게 콜라 좀 지워다 다 가르다 계란 기부 세제 인베스 어디 좋았다면서는 그 기부 세제를 하소가 기부 세제 인스 지난게 단다 그 루가 예수님 제발 남이 용시 많이 배서 남이 용송스 그라 레이저레스 지난데 남이 그들이 용거와 신이 수인 배서 다 말아 아마 예스 단다 아마 가와제도서 냐와를 계속 아니 저 강도 계속 마 두줄 계속 단다 신의 가와제에서 냐와를 계기를 그렇게 침보지 좀 되던 동해의 쉬는 그 묘를 해서
So the Buddha Shakyamuni visited the scene and found himself in the middle of the multitudes, and there was a throne arranged for him, and he took his seat on the throne in the middle of the multitude there, and the fish too was there, the gigantic fish, and through the force of samadhi, through the blessing and force of samadhi, the Buddha Shakyamuni endowed the fish with the recall of past lives, and also gave this fish the ability to speak a language comprehensible to the human audience. And then he queried the fish, you are Manavagara, yes? And the fish replied yes. And the Buddha followed up, you are experiencing the ripened results of actions of body, speech, and mind, yes? And the fish replied yes. And the individual who caused the actions of body, speech, and mind was who? And the fish replied, my mother. And your mother has taken rebirth where? In the hell realms, the fish replied. And you have taken rebirth as, the Buddha queried the fish replied, as an animal. And then the fish described its agonies and wept.
좀 되게 아니 코로나 땡이 좀 진질라면 콜라지 겨우만 전주 받아 아니 맛이 좋고 진질라고 해야지 아니 오늘은 좀 되게 코로나 숨쉬는 되게 이내야 아니 뒤제기 레줄레라 이체벌 용의 치들라 아니 코로나들이 진질라면 숨주 받아야지 어디지 다네 아니 가르쳐 버스도 아니 코르도다 아니 다 기부 캔전 원사르체 배텐데 선제들이 아니 고랑이 겨우만 전통이 아니 미개진이 섬지지도 아니 가래에서 로규디 아니 좀 되게 소변 여러 샘주시면 공가올 아니 좀 되는 저대 쉬는 아니 좀 되게 말 내나 말 여러 Oh, that's the land and now meet cost you the candere. And caught in the candere, call you candere, and the two shivers, and to the land and carnasna. Koran Moma Sanje Resum, I Temba Tartidu, then Kidu Della. It is about Direta, you the Sanje Resum, Kidu Della, and the Koran, the Kuata by Ibase. And then Kadus gave what treaties in it, Jomdi, Court of Yuba. Jomdi, that's it, gave what treaties in each other. Oh, yeah, the Korangi. 정식 동바디나라 이바 안 디디도 뭐 그런 거 동바디나라니 제손 세계 시에서가 지총 아니 그런 제부 코르데 제부 콜라야 지금 거기에 놀롱제도 소바도 가가테 아니 그런 데데디도 아니 기부터도 세시에서기 다다 교환된 디니기 아니 디디도 뭐다 레 산이기 결혼도 밀라 가서는 기부 세시에서기 어디 디디게 봐 이바데 좀 되게 농대 말해서
The Buddha empowered the fish to speak and to recall past lives. He empowered the fish in this way through the force of samadhi and blessing. Even though the Buddha could have himself described that which the fish described, but in order to increase the faith of those present, that the Buddha used samadhi and the force of blessing to empower the fish to give his own account. And so the multitudes found this extraordinarily weird creature, and the extraordinarily weird creature spoke. And it was so strange that Ananda, the attendant to the Buddha, followed up with questions to the Buddha about the origins of this weird animal. And so the attendant Ananda asked, how do we account for such a strange creature? And the Buddha Shakyamuni responded, in the time of the flourishing of the teachings of the Buddha Kashapa, there was the Sangha of Kashapa Buddha, and they were denigrated. And this happened during the time of the king Kriti. And at that time, there was this individual, Manavagara, in the city of this great king who was there with his retinue.
Oh, tako dene tal leg and savarasna. Takoran di pugu de ani lobton zangba chene kheba cheba do ani shiko shin tulaina ya pe mawa sar cheba de neba de jurgo kheba chimbo charas de kheba chimbo cha de ani kharji nima ji ta koran phade ani ba shiwara phade thongdore thong chade ba ani madi ta phade yu nor longje lo so ba da that make it top the sugar some particular toba chene and put it like that. Any kerangita, the lockdown chene and mouth and the touch of you ways in the color kerangi, where we gangala to the our chat, Kadecha tour, morning, but and Kangala party cut church, such a two side ways, Kajachivaras, Chidutamana, put it to two race in Ayanta, nature motor, suyos, and Sanjay Yusungi. And the Gajon Namta Polo Kevachibore, Descale Cabore, Joe to Marishaba, and Sarchi to Serration, and go Amal the lover resmod.
The karma that created this very strange creature was accounted for by the Buddha in this way. At the time of Kashapa Buddha and this principality of the king, where there was the father of an individual, Manavagara. Manavagara's father was very skilled in debate, and through debate and patronage had amassed some wealth. But then he died, and this man's wife, the mother of Manavagara, asked her son, well, now that your father has passed away, there's all this wealth that he won through his debate. Are you likely to be able to educate yourself so that you too will be able to engage in debate and best others in debate and continue this legacy? And Manavagara replied, yes, in all cases, except in debate with the scholars from the Sangha of Kashyapa. They are extraordinarily learned, and I don't know that I'd be able to best them.
Oh yes, that's Korangi. Ani amagi that kanda kejon dida yan sarcho gore sarcho jis no kora amagi betigi kanga sarche shos lavras ani ko amag khala dai amala suzu kawidi ani ame khala nyeje ani ko gelon yanda de ani ko gelon yanda la market jo ani amagi ta ge gelon de sarcho thusa mares se ani amagi ta cheran de maji cheran ta be cheran rabung la shu Rabun shoe and Lobron check, Rabun chen and Galon, but Lobron check, Kabachan and Galon to Capita and Galon to Sarche shows, I mean, Tang Elab Javares. And Korangitan, Yachi and Tawache, within a shoe and to the Lobron check Kabacha. Kabachan and Korang Capita, Tamatama, for the Amala, Joe Mayon, the Tangi, Gajon to get in Sarche to some mare. 나는 콘도 룽다 덴바레 또바다 덴바레 나 룽다 덴바레 또바다 덴바 말 살초도서 말했어 나 아마는 딜라버스 아마디겐 따처럼 디데이나 디그리 따처럼 룽 콘도 달라치 아니 저바치도 봐 아니 전도 콜레 치기 마다 교스 치기 천다 로소나 다 치기 천다 로소나 콘도 럽다 결혼들로 데디기 제바 요르와 제바 요레 아니 콜 이 수수게 중 삼바 요레 저다 아니 요즘 뭐 Condu Wangi and Signia Balabata to Jachena, Condu Nanger Marwa, Nanger Chomar. Chetan P. Meduzamba and it rather Sig Chanta Baran, Chetan Parang, Galon Chin, Galon you may mean Sig to Jar, Chila language, Kojan, Tai, Miss Jin, Kojan, Kirangi, Chigan, Shingamar, Kiran Kubar, the during the Laduzamba and Galon to Nanger Mar. Then Lama Javed Parangi, that Bezus. Demo Tanito Samba Tatrin, Kibu Seja, Pet Nidu to Gizumi, Gelong Tata Pet, Sarcia Sena, the Tam Ragres, or the day Raya Amadi, you go with a yellow jobs and go the lava inza, Higi lava Yelan Tene, and Amade Nyola, Kuran, Tudulaki, or the Nizudi, or the Digit Suarez, and the Jondy Kuran, Kerab, Lung, Satan Ruby to Sung your restaurant.
Manavagara's mother said, no problem that the Sangha is so scholarly. Join them, study with them, so that you will later be able to best them in debate. So Manavagara did just as his mother requested, for he admired and loved his mother, and so he ordained himself and studied with the Sangha. And after doing so, he was forced to return to his mother and say, though I've studied with them, I'm still not able to best them in debate, because they have two forms of knowledge. They have the knowledge of scripture, and then they have realized knowledge, and I only have the knowledge of scripture. And she said, well, nevertheless, there's a way for you to beat them in debate. When you engage in debate, be abusive with them, use vulgar language with them and abuse them, and that will allow you to prevail. And this was true because the Sangha had developed a renunciation for samsara, and they were following the directives of the Buddha, necessarily tolerant. So in debate, he did this to every one of the individuals debating with him, the Sangha members. He invented a nasty name for them and said, you elephant head are a fool and stupid. And he said, you horsehead are foolish and ignorant. And he invented a nasty name for every one of those who he debated. And they didn't reply in kind because of their nature. And so those who were observing the debate thought that they observed Manavagara prevailing and besting the Sangha. And so it was as a result of this that the mother who encouraged her son to abuse the Sangha was reborn in the hell realms, and Manavagara himself was reborn as an animal, and this account is given in the Jataka tales.
Hoy tadi lugudi ani kharesna lugudi tadi thang goya ge je kharche brasna 먼저 법의 기준을 가지고 저와 친구 요마 저와 친구 메디 법의 기준을 때는 먼저 디버사야 시라고 미유 요마 이네 소재 기준을 때네 아니 가지고 레기 남이 마보사기 요바 인자 아니 디마사게 탄달라 아니 루규디 다 루규디도 디다디도 마보 요레소노.
And so what's my reason for retelling this story? We don't have much of an opportunity to spend time with the Arya Sangha, and therefore we don't accumulate negativities with the Arya Sangha as the support. But we do consort with the ordinary Sangha. And so there's plenty of occasion for negativities to accumulate in relation to the ordinary Sangha. And so that you restrain yourself from allowing this to happen is the purpose behind this tale.
재산 대체회는 아니 기둘을 잡을 채우세요. 일단 버게 예반이 보티 년도 동요는 아니 기둘을 잡을 채우세 페이드 마토가 근데 얘가 열에 재산 대대인데 아니 간다 소지 기둘다 아니 간다 소지 돈다 구웠다봐 간다 이나 아니 예바되게 요구요바 당 다디네 아니 가르치를 쓴다 간다 다 디나신 다 단단하듯이 예바 쉐어와다 예바 쉐어 다 디나신 다 소리 알레다 두신데도 다니 예바 쉐신데도 어디 쉐다 네 튼주 제일 시주제로 양도 쉐네 좀 말.
Then there is the possibility that we accumulate non-virtues in our relationship to the ordinary Sangha. In fact, there's a real danger of this. When we go for refuge to the Sangha and denigrate the Sangha, then the benefits of going to refuge to the Sangha won't be experienced, and the negativities, the grave negativities instead will be what we encounter. And so, so that we do not denigrate the ordinary Sangha, I give this account. And so we've described these faults, huh?
단지 예탄도가 기준을 잡수 채우수 좀 받다 예바 다 거야 돼. 아니 다야게 예바 되게 모두들 살았어. 다디네 가르쳐서 다 기준을 잡수 채우세요. 시킬 때는 아니 다 아주 유대 기회 미과 채시. 튼조에 기회 미과 채야 되라. 아니 자주 선반론지 버진 두고 있냐래. 예랑이 다 장배 유대 중이다. 라버숨 아니 보호 컨트롤 추제 홍말을 때는 아니 대동 이시 개바 아니 보호 컨트롤 때는 대동 이시 개바지 아니 수명이 수만 남을 때는 단단도 남는이들 수만 또 공부 차로 하는 휴전 뭐 어제 수만 남을 때는 칠레기 뒤진 넘버 봐봐 오예 딱장부 사도 좀 미과 치고야 다 개베 미기 네 개베 미과 치고 네 개베 미과 치고 어떻게 돼 열어서 그렇지.
Going for refuge to the Sangha, negativities of the kind I've described here are purified. I go for refuge to the Dharma. Reciting this verse, the nectars that purify have descended, and the nectars that confer good qualities descend. And the qualities that are promoted through the descent of this nectar, reciting the verses of refuge, are the qualities of successful practice of the 6 perfections, the 12 qualities of the stavira, the 3 higher trainings, as well as the primordial wisdom of bliss emptiness of the dakas and dakinis, as well as the enlightened activities of Mahakala, primarily as I described, the enlightening activities of Mahakala and protectors too are among the good qualities one receives.
Oh yeah, that is the Belgian chair, that is my Belgian city number. Tamu page Belgian city number Tamu Rani Tiba Tabe Mibachi, and Tiba Tabe Mibachi than cheese. That in the Tenayan to the Belgian Chabala Tena, you native Mibani, or the Kanga Tandanados, Lama Chibachiya, the name you are Sanje, the nature can do Kangala to get Mibachi the Yore. Oh, that did that, people Chedan, the Antic. Suru Chedan, you are young, Yamdo Chigoya the day you're Chedan Miba Kanga Lama Yidam Sangi Kanga Mini, Yamdo Miba Chene to be young Lama lost Sanjay lost to lost here today, Kanga soon your response.
So the descent of purifying nectars purifies the negativities, and the visualization we engage in is of the purification of the negativities, and the descent of nectars confers good qualities, and the visualization of the conferring, the receiving of good qualities, and the increase in good qualities is visualized as well. This is the same process as is undergone with the guru as the object of visualization for the descent of purifying nectars, and the same as the descent of nectars from the Buddhas. Here it is the Sangha. So all of these are similar. And in the visualization, as one receives the descent of nectars, the source of the nectars may be visualized all together or individually. The guru, the idam, the Buddhas all together may be shared source for the descent of nectar, or one may individually visualize first the guru and the nectar that descends from the guru, and then individually the yidam and the Buddhas, each individually. There are various ways to visualize.
Oh, that's another Lamrim, me what she do, Khapa dead, so me what's not shed was. That's not Chogata, and it to you can do Yonda she do, and Kanga Tumu, Manche, Tumu to Chigres, Tazan Kagalo, that Tumu to Sineche, Yogare, and then Susu Sineche, the Yoga, Susu, that me but the Nedan Kanga Tagitasin, and me what Chigi, and I rest, green to the church.
In the tradition of the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, the practice is to consider each individually and the nectars descending from each individually. But within many ritual liturgies of the Mandrayana, and also simply generally speaking, often all of these sources for the descent of nectar are pictured together, and the descent occurring with them all. Here, to divide them and consider each in the visualization individually is a choice one may make depending on the rhythm of one's practice and one's situation. So we will end the lecture here for today.
Yeah, you that was
Now, if you have any doubts or questions, we can address doubts and entertain questions now. Okay, so the one with the most questions has a question.
Just two. It has to do with I'm just looking at the harmony within the Sangha. And so if one fractures it, so considering that they're bottom, they have a very different viewpoint of Mahayana.
so they see the Mahayana are not really following the Dharma. And so the Mahayana see that they don't have a complete view, that's a clear view of the vision. And it seems in that sense kind of a fracturing. Then the other thing, if somebody's still, for example, they still lumber and then the hell realms, how they become lumber is not sentient being, they have consciousness. So that's regarding the Sangha. And the other thing, when Buddha Manavagara, he used the CDs so he could actually speak, but how the samadhi, what is the difference between samadhi and the siddhas in terms of being able to have a future of empowerment? Because samadhi seems to be more like concentrated on meditation, and siddhi would that be the power that would allow that, versus through samadhi that the siddhis develop?
Oh yeah. Mandrash. Oh yeah. The Damboti 그래서 인도인기 아니 tumbo 되네. 말에 예와 tumbo 되와. 말에 그래서 아니 축신다 아니 인도나 축신 계획이 네바. 아니 데라. 테크닉이 인도당 택신기 인도 문자와니 아니 라보 통계도 제산데 디 카니디 아니 긴든 직제 아니 테크닉이 긴든당 택진기 긴든 예워체네 아니 축신 계획이 저던 라보 통계도 직제 디 말와 디 직제 디 직제 내내 직제로 내내 그래서 내내 니버디래 Tati karisani niewe nyawa nice nyawa dela ani shingi karisa shingdang ani la sopa tik chakma la sopa dende ani simchen su gyurwa dende yorwa yenadi chita ani shingdi ani shingla ani simyomare ani sing korang kanjes ani simchen chagire 직제 니바 니버디래 근데 somebody 지치다 디 닥쳐 템베기 아니 띵인생기 똑기 아니 카레 아니 냐 쳔보디 케지시 이누버데 아니 나버와 딱 띵인생 세리디 당 아니 무르 세리디 케파르가레 페나 디 직진아 아니 띵인생기 똑기 아니 냐 카레서 무릎 아니 토비어 여기래 야메나 때 무릎 때 이kengi 띵이 쟁기 때 믹스긴 누버차야 때 요나 somebody
다들 다부터 대신 기도 팀에 기도세 다디다 기도 다다 빼지나 모두 쉐야들라 대신 팀에 계제지는 쉐요 말해 다음도 기도 미팅 받을라 딱 망보고 미팅 받자 여러와 다다 저랑 시합 가지 대버친구 기도도 팀에 기도 이제 예체는 마찬 받대야 연구래 이건 쪽으로와 직제 아니 다다 빼지나 뭐 쉐야 대신 팀에 쳐버치는 송요 말했어 지난 기두시 기두께 미께 초배 기두 대직 아니 무슨 뭐 중앙이나 전이는 잡아이나 아니 기두 예스 중앙에서 그래서 나고 네 단이버디 네 디바가래 니버디 가래
나도 싱디 싱
예 다디 녀와 샘쟁이 녀와 생들아 다 신코랑 지단 신의 셈이 유명히 제바 제조로와 되게 지고 말했어와 되게 지고 말해 다간다 나도 드려다 예외 예체와 생기디 아니 대대지 요말 세수야 개요 말
가르치
어저
셈요 네
말다 녀와 예체 녀와 들어와 녀와 생기디 아니 지단코 뭐디 가르스나 예외기 네 두르그 땡체 안 딜 두게 용거야 아니 딜에 숙디 잠이다요 코 간다 거기 치료고 수부도도 신이 넘버로 제모도 콜스 좋아하네 되어와 좋아하는 좀 좋아하는 아주 좋아하네 시작한다 거기 수수도 레기 넘버 미비 또지 아니 콜 두게 용 두게디 용거야 디리가 당도 가다 미기 루 넘버 템바 요걸 싱글 루도 도구 넘버 템바 가 요걸 따들 데지 요마 세송 투야 요마레스 데식세로 이바체 다 수바데 모두다 땡이진 승이디 코니 땡이진 토픽 모두 조브로와 아서 땡이진 모두 조야 유 제가 모두 조야라 땡이진 토픽 아니 모두 되게 랭게와 어디에 저 모두도 땡이진 이버디 유제도 삼다나 야고 요래서 모두도 조야체 땡이진 또 어디에 저 제가 되게 민도에서 어디서
regarding the fractured Sangha, nowhere in the sutras themselves do you find any mention of the Mahayana Sangha and versus the Hinayana or foundation vehicle Sangha. Just as you say, there is the possibility for disagreement and a fracture in the community of the Sangha along the lines of a disagreement between Mahayana Sangha and foundation vehicle Sangha. This is perfectly conceivable. However, nowhere in the sutras is such a fracturing described in terms of Mahayana Sangha and the foundation vehicle Sangha. The vision that is that as it is described precisely is where there was a group of 8 and they can be divided so that there are 2 groups of 4 still whole sanghas, then you find the fracturing of the sangha there. Now whether we say lumber, wood is sentient or not, then whether we go into some sort of analysis of that isn't really most salient thing now. Rather, the situation in the adjoining hills is of interest because the adjoining hills are these adjoining hills because the sentience there takes animal form, so that the animal form is the basis for the experience of suffering. And this occurs as the elements that constitute the body are present. The elements present are sufficient cause for experience or sensation of the ripening of karma. The animal forms, the aspect, the external appearance that they have may be various. Maybe animal form, maybe in the form of lumber, maybe in the form of stone. These are all acceptable as external appearance for the basis for sentience, for experiencing suffering. Now, the third point is samadhi and siddhi. Samadhi is the cause for the achievement of the siddhis. So it is the relation of cause and the siddhi is the result. And it also, I think, would be acceptable to see samadhi as that which achieves the siddhi and the siddhi as the thing that's achieved.
아니 다들 좋은 이버스도 하고 다들 신가 좋아서 대딩상 다 뭐만 있는 거저 주제들 근데 막 매주 아니 셈나는 뭐시야 하고 그래서 주제들 저기 신글 로마 타고다 아니 또 신기 매도다 로는 다 거기 매도도 그 소원용의 여보다 아니 반 통들던 거 로마 있네 아니 저 구조적인 또 강벌라고 여보는데 땡진 그래서 주제 무슨 때용도 뭐 통화도 왔다 저 이 만한도디 간다 밖에 미 통들 잡아 신 넘버도 여봐 있나야 그뭐 내단도디 아니 베스임제 동해와 강에가 좋아요 봐 아니 좋아 동해 요야 봐 어디에 다시 망고 요르스 다들 지난 로규다 되는 좀 녀원이 제외고 로규 시류 아니 보라다 어디에 전에 시를 해서
in the past, there weren't new technologies, the same technologies that we have today that allow for some subtlety in identifying consciousness. Today we readily acknowledge that such things as flowers and leaves have their sensations, and there are technologies too that allow us to recognize where the essence of conscious experience and sensation may rest. And so the form, wood as the form, the external appearance of wood may not convey the essential quality of the wood, which is the quality of conscious sensation and experience of pain, in this case, in the adjoining house. But the essence or the quality, characteristic of the wood being that which experiences sensation and suffering is really the focus there for what happens in the adjoining house.
Yeah,
the story about the practitioner that ate the meal that people had sold the texts to buy. It seems that he had no intention to do that negative action. He wasn't even aware of the negative action. Other people did it, and so it seems he was suffering karma that other people created. You know, there's the description of how karma is created later on in the Lamrim, and I'm kind of thinking of that. It doesn't seem like any of those parts were really present. His intention was only to eat a meal that someone else was feeding him. So I just wonder how that happened.
Kiampa Chimbo, the Nyamnebadi, Chobati, Chinese Najobadi, the Namengi Jebati Kongan and the Tara Member, the Najobati, Sam Shindu, and the Karasa and the Parchin Tsong, Kala Nyobati, Sam Shindu, and the Hevamaro, Jetson. Chitan and lay down Jelly Gu Yamada Mari Legi Carissa Legi Kichu and a Mundra Sumshi and Yoro and it's Pelwadam. That's over Denzo Penani Shingi and Sakbe Ledge and the Mishinda Lan in Yonga di Yang and in Yongi Chop, Young Chokimara. Oh, did it. Jetson didn't tell him do.
Zambolin Ganga Chulo, Salo, Tension Mother Mongolic, Izuganga, Senjing, Chitung less, and the Yorava. Or didn't I think Mazu Kazan, Chuba producer by Davos Muanga, Mason, Chuba, Pichu, you are, or did a finish Sonam Bay. Sonam Sadu Zambayang, Dopchu Satua, you are. Tinashian Chidun, they Sunday told you want to do it, and just Chito the Yon today. Chitama do a single chill yon. In another, she is a she yon messy. And the day was lay Mishabati, Sa, and Jibu Rangi Yon said, in the Yon Maris. That under okay, called Michibu Digi, non reaching Yidi, Michibu Delwata, Jinda Delwa. In that digi, Kobe Korangi Bizan Sunjo Chia Tadala, and should put the Tsong, and Digi Shabatia Tadala, and go Tawadi Gata, Shabachi Juk. That Shabachi Yig Nala, that's how I see you. Consulata, 무슨 딱 본적이 거기 봄 Tsong 배샤사기 요도 콘줄라 도바 요 말에 그런 좀 쓰면은 가리었으나 거기 저와자버래 미ዛ한테 배 야고 요한치도 샵대 제발에 제원하지 콘도 제발 있는 제발 될 때는 거기 파기 이버디 추 와다 추봉게 레기도 아니 거기 남이 제부디 지도 차서 봐봐 제발자 대공이 아니 수술은 내 저거 취주지 야타만의 것이 제부 직니지다 일라를 때문에 장거봐라 다시 봐도는 주주 이수를 하되었다 야지 되주제지 되다 그런 양으로 와 어제다 되게 차대 요래서 제가 지금 내 생기 저 되게 영화 요래서 이스 가가요다 신지사가 just 어머 좀 봐라
She's out there with the glass. Collective karma, collectively experienced karma, such as that which is shared, the experience of shared karma undergone in flooding and earthquakes and other natural disasters. These are ripenings of collective karma. Just as there is in making offerings of public or common, the commons, and offerings of private personal possessions. And if one makes offerings of the commons, then that is the basis for accumulating considerable merit. In the same way, actions done collectively may be experienced, their results may be experienced personally. And you described well the narrow case where the action of another individual, separate and apart, not in a collective event or action, their karma cannot conceivably ripen upon another unrelatedly. Now here, the situation was the individual primarily at fault, the patriarch of the family who had sold the Prajnaparamita recognized that was a negativity, that was non-virtuous, and in order to purify that negativity, invited the Sangha to share a meal that is was patron to the Sangha in order to expiate the non-virtue. And the Sangha obliged the patron and came unaware of the context, simply thinking, here is a patron who, for the purposes of ensuring good fortune for his family, has invited us. And so we support this individual that they may have good fortune and their family may have good fortune. Unawares, the negativity that the patron was atoning for through patronage of the Sangha was the negativity of abandoning the Dharma. And in this situation, the negativity of abandoning the Dharma became collective, and necessarily the result of that collective negativity was experienced in part by the members of the Sangha who were invited for the purposes of addressing that negativity in the first case. So in this way, it became a collective event. And you're pointing out that another's separately accumulated karma cannot be experienced by another unrelatedly is drawing from the entering the middle way, the Madhyamaka Avatara.
만다 지난 리버 쉐도를 모두 리버 쉐도를 막 가려서는 리버 다기 기버 당스 직샤를 수중에 제교 당스로 리버 다기 제바다 기도 제와 당스 신의 제도 주고 하세요. 신이 기버를 제수 일어나서 신이 내가 제수가 리버 사서 왔다 그 뒤로 섬에 제 신이 제월 제수랑 요로 다기 미기버 다기 마시에 받아 마통을 원게 also the one which rangi machine but the mountain only because I will also be to go schedule about schedule me what to do about that give out give the just or the nation shadow.
In confession, one confesses to those non-virtues one is responsible for personally, those non-virtues that one had others do on one's own behalf, as well as the negativity, the non-virtue of rejoicing in the non-virtues of others. So there are these three that that you should have in mind as you confess. These three, those non-virtues for which you are personally responsible, the non-virtues that you had others do, and the non-virtues of others that you rejoiced in, as well as those that were engaged in unknowingly. These are all to be had in mind when confessing.
아니 가래 내리 거기던 다가시요 미시바세 이모마와제 아니 미시바다 이모마와제 가다시요 그동안 좀 고시 다 지난 샤바시도 다 랑게 마시바다 마토바다 게왕 베샤기 있으면 고롱도 쩌네 고롱선이 샤고
There are the four doors to non-virtue, including ignorance, a preponderance of mental afflictions, disrespect, and when one is confessing to non-virtues, confess in such a way that you recognize personal responsibility, encouragement of others to engage in non-virtue, rejoicing in others' non-virtue. All of these should inform one's intention as one confesses. Are there any other questions?
So when we know people are sick or going through negativities, and we alleviate, we spend time with them or comfort them or support them, are we purified too, or are their negativities purified too? And are we doing our karma, or are we just supporting them?
Ani natuk sambala ani soso ani nebadila ani ropache dan simso tan la sopa den che pa ina di soso gi ani tekpa de ani dakpe gyu den chagire soso gi ani lege che ba de ani soso ani krasa ni geva den zo ani da yongire be da misenda nebachikla ani ropache do soso la kandes Como grandes pingeres, sosula yang grandes pingere.
그 파종목이 거기 가다스 동해라 용로 제바다오다 동해세 탑시 제바다오다 어디서 가온 제바 있나요? 아니 랑게사베 레충을 줘야 아니 레 매버 차야 어디데 주차지 망고 열었어 이네 또 지주지 꿀롱을 제버려 열었어 꿀롱부터는 실 배선 그 삼바 야고 유나 아니 자자자다 뭐 편도 열었어 아니 양 꿀롱 대가 쇼치 뭐 맨나야 꿀롱을 봐봐 편바지 용거를 아니 또 뭐서 편바 거서 가지고 그 셈을 대와 아니 루기 두개 시원데 제바이나 편바도 예바로 와서 그래서
Yes, of course, there's a connection. One is actively purifying one's own negativity too, through assisting another, providing them with contentment, with some relief, with some direct help. This causes one's own negativities to be reduced. This is especially true, though, when when one's intention is positive, because one is reducing the suffering of another, actively helping another. When this is one's intention, then this will eliminate one's own negative karma too, or help to reduce that which will ripen. And so it all comes down to the intention. If the intention is truly benevolent, if the intention is truly altruistic and for bringing relief to the mind and body of that other person, then one will also experience benefits.
일단 고라는 제네에서 제가 제네 미네바 제네 조금만 제네 내가도 미기지도 양고 있단 거 알아. 아니 거기서 다 미면서 다른 거 아니 배사와 사동들로 얼마 샤고로 와. 근데 고라는 요즘 특이만 키진. 아니 그게 내가도 기대 이거 거. 아니 내가도 되게 제가 내다 아니 대체 아니 내가 펴봐도 수술을 빼자면 쉬우 차기로 와. 제가 대리차도 아니 네 요즘 책임이 민들 내가지고 대치려고 제가 대리 대도 수수기 야매 자주심 고로빵 이제 자주심 무슨 맨날 자주심 그 삼바상 뭐 심바는 제발이나 시행을 해도 수술로 와.
The famous composition, the 8 verses of mind training, just after composing it, the author went out and spent time with lepers, and at the time the lepers were real pariahs. Anywhere there was a leper, they would be banished, forced away into a pit, forced away into the borderlands. But the author of the 8 verses of mind training, just after finishing the composition, went out among the lepers and treated the lepers. And then the 8 verses of mind training, the mind training tradition itself came to be known as the leper's dharma. And wherever there's bodhicitta inspiring the benevolent kindness of a person, or something near and close to bodhicitta, if not bodhicitta itself, then as it motivates one to assist others, it certainly that activity will certainly benefit others and also oneself naturally. Any others? It looks like maybe Sujata has one.
Thank you, Geshe-la. I think I'm confused a little bit about the praying that others' negativities ripen upon me. When it seems that such a thing is not possible, because everyone has to purify their own negative karma. So when we're saying the words, may their negativities ripen upon me, it feels more like a wish that such a thing could be possible. Not a belief that such a thing is actually occurring. And relatedly, sort of in Pali practice, so we are breathing in others' suffering. With this desire to take it off of them and have it ourselves. I think in my own mind, I get stuck with the impossibility of it karmically. And so I'm wondering if Geshe-la has some advice.
Also 심신 탐지기 이번 심신 파로미 심신 탐지기 그래서 아니 대파 소설란 아니 멤버쇼 아니 라베 아니 만남디기 거르르와 다디 근데 아니 심신 탐지기 아니 대파 소설란 아니 멤버쇼 somebody 라베디 아니 뭐네 시기마레 시기마레와 시기마레 제자한테 소소한테 만남된데 갭도 심라 가르 삼라 가르 코르두세나 다 심진 신다기 아니 빅바 소소라 아니 민 시기마레테 아니 민 톱나 아니 삼네 아니 레와 똥바 된데 갭바 안 된데 아니 인서레 삼기도 직접 어디가나 직소르지 디직접 되네 아니 신다 아니 똥맨 냠도 그래서 똥맨 아니 냠는 체도 소소 아니 묵 텐드 아니 심진 탐지기 아니 동아 소소기 코 스코바나라 다 수테기 아니 미파 메바든지 제거와 디양 아니 이게 두 똥맨 냠는 제도 디양 아니 심진 탐지기 동아 소소라 아니 텐야 소소라 메야 근데 양 아니 민시기 말에 어제선데 근데 근데 아니 똑같은데 사기 두스 뭔데
está de bola mundo tayo mare sikje mundo tayo mare ta ine sem기 공부 생게 되는 타요 말레스 하우스만 sem기 공부라 타요 말 류지 공부라 타요래 대체 하우자 일단 인디 신지 등에 라가 당도네 뭐투거든 요 말에 이 당 당도 랑모투가 요 말에 만 당도 그래 신지 등에 랑게 세워야 용투 그래 제가 따디디 다 강단 셈이 가수 공부 치료 치마 이나양 묘바 치료 드라이어바티 저랑 아직 영화 연구했으면 되게 도스 제가 다 셈이 영화 판매바 이디 이게 용투 그래 이게 용투 말에 다디 산지 고랑이 하고는 고아래 내가 아주 하고 말했어 이나양 셈이 공부를 판매바디 아주 영화가 두고 했어 텔라 리버 텔라 때네 아니 시 동에랑게 용투야 방 랑게 대화 시행을 때 두야 리버 요래서 단양내 돈 리베 이지 바지 지 투그에서 되도 어디서
Possibility is foreclosed to beginners. There is an end to the possible for the beginner, but with increased sensitization of the mind, what becomes evident is that there is no end to increase in sensitivity. There is an end to the border of the body, to the physical, but there is no end to the increased sensitization or sensitivity of consciousness. And so in that way, there is no predetermined limitation that prevents one from actually dispelling the suffering of others. One can, in fact, dispel the suffering of others. One gains the conviction in this through increased sensitization, increased familiarization of the mind with possibility. And so I think you well know the mind's ability to grow sensitized to new broad impressions. So the experience, that experience is not foreclosed. The Buddhas know this well. We simply must know through reason, gain a confidence by virtue of reason that there's no foreclosure in this regard. And so we can, in fact, bring happiness to others. We can, in fact, dispel the suffering of others. And order did it.
아니 규제 가르치는 거래서 규제인지 당내 아니 랑이 개변식을 배나 랑이 자리 당을 내가 끼니게 자리 랑이 개회신이 랑이 밑자 최초 찍어내스 부재티제 규제 가르치니 랑을 캐드비시스 가서 랑을 캐드비시스 규제들이 가서 계산 캐드비시스 경도 말을 캐드비시스 너 규제들이 랑을 캐드비시스 아니 랑다라기 계획이 된 거です. 된 거에 규제가 랑을 캐드비시스. 규제 딜 때는 계획이 뒤부터 랑다라기 계획이 담보이고 두고도와 직도와 아야 대단히 가서 빼내라고 하는 내가 가서 보고 주지 내가 대망고 시한다 저랑 되게 높은 데 뛰어 버렸어. 나와 있는 보고들 선배 남아 담아는데 망고 장투사 말에 삼바다고 용거와 용거에 장이 매서 용거 장 못도 와서 용거를 이내고 공부직 때니 대직 많이 됐으면지만 플러스 차단 심바 심에 맞아 말람이 잘 도왔어. 대단히 아주 쌤이 공부생이 각주 쉽지 못해 보이나요? 하요 말해. 제가 공부하면 이상 이걸 하요 말했어. 제가 이 용도 말했어요. 이 카바 요랬어. ele 중글 레세 그 대화 열었어. 중요한 리바이어 마중한 리바이어 말했어. 어디서 말?
In the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, the argument demonstrating that that person who harms you is the most precious spiritual teacher you have, that demonstration is made in this way. That the harm doer, the one who harms you, is most precious to you. Why? Because they benefit you. Therefore, they are supreme among teachers. And so this is the reasoned argument. And similarly, when you give to your child all his assignments, all the textbooks that they're responsible for mastering, initially the young student will say, no way that I can know all of this. But then step by step, they come to master all of the material, and the time even comes when that student will later teach others the content of those very texts. And so what this all illustrates is that there is no bound to that which the mind grows sensitive to, may grow sensitive to, and comfortable with. And so as there is no bound to the sensitization to impressions for consciousness and the mind, there's also no bound to the potential for what may be done. And so this is the reason that we say that we will do this. The 양열식 성분 때때거네 양열식.
수수기 배는 어제 남이 로종으로 남까지 쉐어 있나? 당연히 로종이 되는 로터 야탐벌 전에 시에서 말에 이 시에서 말에 삼백을 삼바직 수수기 직 로종 재단 신바다 튀기 gen지 왕기 니마치가 개바 용거렸어. 이 영화도 가서 그 뒤지 미셔스 유전 장요했어. 뒤지다 그 유아요래. 예, 유로래 그 안데 로지알 개마 개 부서 말했었는데 삼바치기야 니마치가 개바데 유아르스 그 개인다 유행이 오는 거 요르스. 그 균제 가서 뒤지 미셔스. 그 유아요 미셔스. 근데 그지 망다는 람리나 로스 바즈 마 냠네 티토나 안 된데 균제 망고 요르스.
Well, the Jizani Lamrim, the Quran, Topa Gula Kailani, Logiani,
Then Loja Jana, Kesamari Samba Sambati, and Suzuki, Gavation gained out, Suzuki, the Pro, we gained out, Sonam, we can't give on it. We might like Keva for yours. Could you ever got a busy, just on your restaurant?
At the outset, when one takes stock of the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment and all the practices that it contains, one will may well think, even in 100 years' time, I couldn't master all of the practices described in the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. You might have that misgiving, but in fact, with the truly supportive conditions and causes, the realization of the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, all of the realizations may occur in you in one single day. And that is because you are compounded phenomena, and they therefore liable to rapid change. And so insofar as it is compounded phenomena that we consider, compounded phenomena naturally change. And so what the misgiving that in 100 years' time I couldn't possibly master the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, in fact, with the cause and condition, in a day's time, the realization may occur and the reason is, it is compounded phenomena that we're considering, and compounded phenomena changes.
That's a new social set of it, a camera set of it, that talk, but you top chimbo. You remove Duma to the Chaying Tadala, Jambo, social to Kachimbo, shake your husband.
And so we consider the merit field and refuge, and the merit field and refuge are the very causes, the very favorable causes that make for rapidity and swiftness in accomplishment. And so we consider them.
Oh yeah,
So we've used our time up and more, and so now we'll recite our closing verse.
Ema sumbe zera kudu yang jambe yangi zewe jesu. Tembe rimba kuisang langi cho nyene jube jena nishe. Rangi jishe tobe lamgi me shudra dewe rangi tagi. Dove yige mumba seje ne yewe temba yure ne yuruche. Temba reje choje maja ba javya nyamba yure chode. Yije jembe yira kewa ye bede jirze sewa jeba. Seje yawe bijun telele. Lejo janjo la ye le ya par na ye la bede je jawe te ba le bo ju je la sa de be de je ru je ge se je me da me se ra kun do jawe ma ba ye lambda le wa ma je
From my two collections, vastest faith that I have amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds, wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my life. May I find the best of the paths of the complete teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means strong and may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I hold Buddha's teaching for a very long time, with my heart going out with great compassion. In whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have not declined, may I offer this treasure of happiness to all sentient beings. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time by following the complete graduated path to enlightenment and the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings have eliminated adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths, never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may he always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.
Dāgī chirīnyē sābē gyēwāndī tēndāng rō kēpārnā chēdē lōsāng rābāyī tēmbē nīmbō rīndē sēchē shō kāng rī rāwē kōrwē shīngāng zē pēndāng dēwā mālē chūmbē chērē nīmbō tīzī yāsū yī chāmbē sēdē bādō tēgyō rī Dambe bawa jedar kemba kudu sambo neya deshinte yeda kuji jesu dalu gewa nida tamje radu yusumo shebe gewa tamje ge mowa mana dage gewe sawa negunya sambo jebje radu
I dedicate whatever virtues I have ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Sangha to shine forever. When the land encircled by snowy mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful sinners of the please remain until psychic existence is ended. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all the goods and virtues, with the dedication praised as the best by the victorious thus-gone ones of the three times, so that I might perform the noble Buddhi-Sattva deeds. May the supreme jewel of Buddhi-Shita that has not arisen rise and grow. May that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more.
저의 주로 연애주 때서 야고 낭토는 제마수로 참 되니다 인생에 되는 주인의 연애비 거래서.
All right, now by practicing the 6 preliminary practices, then later when the time comes for any of you to engage in retreat or do an approximation retreat, you will have exposure and experience in that. Now, if you have time, there's tea and lunch outside, and we can relax together out there and continue our discussion.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Como sempre, there's a connection for you, then, so make it a powerful aspirational prayer.
Oh yeah. 그렇지. 그렇지.
Reason she asks the way.